What up, what up, what up, what up? It's been a long time since I've been in front of this camera, been in front of this mic, been in front of you, but I just wanted to hop on here real quick. I'm not gonna be able to stay for very long, like not even like 20 minutes. I gotta go pick up the daughter in a little bit, but I just wanted to hop on here because one, I missed last week and I apologize for that. And if you've been following me in Discord, there is a link, in my description if you're not in the Discord. But if you were following me in Discord, I did mention that my entire week had to get scrapped. You know, everybody, the household was sick. A lot of things going on just in terms of the business and the company and all that jazz. And it just was not a conducive time for me to start streaming. So I just wanted to hop in here when I had a little bit of time just to get the train moving, because I feel like this is super important for me to do this year, and be really very intentional about what I stream. So I'm going to do Tuesday and Wednesday as film production, all the stuff that I'm doing behind the scenes for the project that I have going on, what's happening within the company, what's happening with the projects themselves, and that sort of thing. Monday I need to back up. That's going to be the funding your vision day. That's when we're going into day trading, which is what I'm doing for myself and a lot of the projects that I have going on, but also not just day trading, but also other ways to raise money for your projects, you know, because I do have an investor for Nagging Wrights, and also we're looking at, you know, other funding sources as well. So there's a lot to talk about in that section as well. So there's a lot to talk about, a lot of things to do. Thursday is going to be dark, Friday is going to be dark, and then Saturday, that's going to be a chill day. We're going to be playing some games. I was actually looking for some new games for my PS5 because I still haven't really played that yet, even though my brother got that for me like almost a year ago, so I got to step it up. But that being said, I'm definitely trying to implement this schedule, so bear with me as I get into everything. Just trying to, again, get the process started and get the wheels turning for everything. So like I said, if you're not in my Discord, definitely check out the link. I don't have my Stream Elements chat bot set up properly because it's something else I got to add to my list of things to do, which I should have been doing this whole entire time, but I just didn't have time because I'm working on all this other stuff. So with that ado, let's get into it. I just recently did a location scout for my project Nagging Wrights. And for those that don't know, this has been a project that has been in our development team, in our development pipeline for a while now. And it's good that we're finally able to move forward with the actual hands-on type stuff, not just, you know, writing the script, not just the theory of, you know, I want this project to be great, but actually making those steps happen. So location scout went phenomenally well. The team was great. They absolutely loved all the locations that we found, and they have a good plan for what we need to do in these locations. But the biggest thing, and here's the reason why I absolutely recommend doing a location scout before you go and film, is that it exposed a lot of the constraints and a lot of the challenges that we were going to face, and I like to get those knocked out long before we actually go out there to film, because I don't want to show up and just be like, hey, this is the space, what do you think, you know, and have that actually be our filming day. Let's plan it properly, even though it's going to take a little bit more time, a little bit more money, because of course you got to pay for all these people, whoever you bring. So in my case, it was my assistant director, my AD, the DP, sound mixer, production designer, screenwriter, all of them, and including myself, obviously. So all of them have a very specific thing that they're looking for within each location. And so budgeting a project is one thing. When you get the team involved, it becomes something else. It's a very alive document, right? And so we're not going to get into the numbers in this particular conversation, because that's not what today is about. That'll be in the Funding Your Vision day. But the most important thing is, like I said, they come up with their needs, their wants, their asks, and stuff like that. And so how do you balance that? How do you balance the money that you have with the actual needs of the shoot? Because in this case, yes, I've budgeted for everything, but did I budget enough? Did I budget for the little things, the nuanced things that I didn't think about? Because that's the reason why that person is there, because I don't think like they do. I don't do their job, right? And so they're going to see things that I don't necessarily account for. And so how do I add all those things in, knowing that there's a finite amount of money that we have for this project? That's what the challenge is. That's what the challenge is right now, because all the locations, like for example, just using art as an example, she needed 2 additional bodies because of all the furniture that needs to be built in. I only budgeted for 1 additional person. And so where do I get that extra money for that additional person? But it's a reasonable ask. If we want to move quickly, we have to have the people there to do the things so that, is not everything is falling onto one person. We want to spread that, we want to delegate that responsibility out. That way we can get in there, get out, and then keep it moving. And so that's item 1. And then item 2, in this particular case, what we're going to be talking about today is the location itself. So when we scouted it, everything was great. The location was fully available, and we could, make our schedule around what was there. After the scout, after we get all locked in and everything is great, I get a text from the owner saying, "Hey, by the way, this house is going to sell by X amount date." And I'm just like, huh, interesting. I was not expecting that, nor did I account for that. And so what do you do? That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest fire that I have to put out right now. And so as the producer right now, one of the producers of this project, it's super important for me to figure out what is the best course of action. Do I try and squeeze everything into this one particular, block of time that I have before this house sells, knowing that everybody's availability is kind of all over the place? Or 2, do I just find another house? Well, because this house is essentially perfect, like all of the team members are like, yes, this is the house for this scene, because it checks off all of the boxes. It has, like, for example, with my DP, it's super open. And so I can put the camera pretty much anywhere I need to be able to get the shots that we have spoken about. And for me, that's super important because I want to be able to, 1, show the space, but also not be constrained with where I put the camera, so we can have a variety of shots and that sort of thing to keep the edit interesting. So that's the big thing right now. So I honestly am trying to do a scramble. This one's a little loud. I am trying to do a scramble of getting all of this in before the house sells. Now, one of the biggest challenges is that we need 5 days here, plus a prep day, plus a wrap day. So 7 full days. It's only available for 6. So now I've lost a prep day, a wrap day, and a shooting day. So now I'm down to like 4 days of filming, and then 1 day of prep, and then the team, the art team, can come in and wrap out after we leave. So that's a challenge. So I got to talk to my AD today and see what's feasible. And we have rewritten the script several times to accommodate some of these fires. Like, for example, in terms of the budget, we were initially slated for 13 episodes, but because the budget that we had didn't account for, or didn't allow for us to do all 13, I sat with my screenwriter and was like, hey, what can we cut? What can we rearrange? What can we rewrite to get this down to 10? And so we did that. So there's already been some changes made to the script. And so now I'm talking with my AD, and like, I can't change the script any further without messing up the story. How can we still tell this in the time that we have? What can we move? What can we get rid of? So one of the things that we spoke about, for example, there was I think it's a 4-bedroom house, and one of the rooms we were dedicating to a flashback scene. Now, the problem with the flashback scene is, of course, the actors have to look different than they do in present day. So we were like, okay, we can take that out and put it in another spot, because that is separate. That's supposed to be a separate space anyway. We were just taking advantage of the fact that we weren't using that room for anything in the present day. But that's going to be time that we don't have, that we can't film there. So guess what? That's gone to another place. We didn't cut it from the script, but we took it out of that location. And so that frees up a day, maybe, yeah, pretty much a day. So that's good. The other caveat is also we have day and night scenes. And when it comes to scheduling, you can't schedule an overnight into a regular day. You got to give them a good turnaround time to recuperate, rest, and then get back into it. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, that I'm filming the night scene on Monday. So Monday night. I can't then schedule anything for Tuesday unless it would be a nighttime thing, which I don't have time for. So I wouldn't be able to get back in until Wednesday. And so that is a challenge because the night scene is super important. But now the question is, can we make that a daytime scene? I don't know yet. We have to think about it. Because if I can do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday as my, my shoot days, then I can make it happen. But as I'm talking it out, even with talking it out with you right now, it's almost saying to me, you might want to just take this block and use it for something else, because people are available. And I definitely want to film something there, but I have to film something that makes sense. And so that may mean losing the house, which, is a bummer because I got to go and find another house, but it's not the only house available in Atlanta, right? So the cleaner option is to keep the block of dates available because people are available those dates. Film something for the project because there's plenty of scenes. We just have to rearrange them, which is why I'm talking to my AD, and then, find another house in the process. So, there's a lot of things that I really want to get into, but again, because of time, I don't have a whole lot of it to really get into the nitty gritty. But these are the kind of conversations that I'm going to be talking about in this type of series, this production 101 type of thing, because these are things that a lot of people don't really think about when they're doing their thing. They just show up, film the thing, and keep it moving. And yes, we could do that. I've done plenty of guerrilla type shoots, but for me, I'm trying to, one, do things in the way that it's supposed to be done because I know better. But also, I'm just trying to make sure that we take care and we get rid of all of the fires that we possibly can before we spend the money, before we spend the time, before we spend the effort to go off and, do all the things. So, excuse me. That's really the challenge. And then the other caveat is, in this block, I have to have four or five, I got to do my counts again, but let's just say five specific actors. Two of my actors just today, literally before I got onto this live, were like, hey, I'm no longer available for this project. Best of wishes to you, but I can't do it. And to say I was a little like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to do now? Is, an understatement, because again, me booking this and locking down and confirming this location, this house location, is predicated on these actors being available because they have to be in the scene. So now I have to go back and recast that maybe before this block of time comes up. And, again, that's a whole other situation. So there's a lot of fires that have to be put out. And as the producer, as the director, it's my job to put these fires out so that when we get to filming, it's smooth sailing. We can just literally press the button, film our scenes, and get out of there, because we don't want to put these fires out during the shoot. That would be crazy. So that's what I'm working on right now. I'll keep you posted as I can. This is going to be a relatively short stream. I just wanted to get up here and, start the process. Like I said, I'm going to spend more time once I, get more flexibility in my schedule. And that's something else that I'm working on, because there's a bunch of stuff that we have going on. We have this project. We got Nagging Wrights. We got the I Write, You Direct project with Reaper 228. We got a bunch of other stuff in the pipeline that's waiting to be happening. In addition to the I Write You film, there's a short a month that we're doing. And so between all of these projects, the day trading, the funding, all of this stuff, there's a lot to do. And then just got to get out here and, relax and have some, fun time as well. So yeah, it's a lot, but we're going to make it happen. So just stay tuned. If you have any questions, any comments, any recommendations, drop it in the chat. Let me know. But yeah. All right. We're out of here. Peace.